Elect.
As we now enter champions like Galio has already been banned away, Rakan taken off the table. We'll see if Aurelia joins that ban list. For now, though, just some of the more utility options present on the current patch.
And Niski can also take the Aurelia if he wants. He's actually been one of the best performing members on Splyce. If we go back to playoffs in Spring Split and now also the start of Summer Split, so great improvement from him.
Again, we're seeing the Aatrox ban here. Everyone's been talking about how strong the champion is after the extra buffs that were rolled out to him.
Banning it on blue side, though.
Yeah,
I
was about to talk about Impact here, because a lot of people always chalk him up only the tank player, but he's actually played, Renekton, as well as more bruisers like the old Aatrox before he was reworked in the top lane already this split, even had a Kled game, so he's definitely looking more versatile than usual, but they still don't feel comfortable, first picking it.
Nocturne ban as well. Talia was first picked last game by Fnatic.
Yeah. The other thing about first picking Aatrox, we already know there's a very good counter pick into it, and that is Fiora, because she can get inside of the big hit zone, the sweet spot on most of his Qs.
Well, Swain will be the final ban. We'll see if Team Liquid want to take the Talia for themselves or if they're going to mix it up this time around. Already going out for some hovers. Expect first pick still Talia, but
I like Sejuani as well. I think she's become the strongest tank jungler you can get, for sure. And obviously, Xmithy in the past has played a ton of Sejuani for himself, and even has something called an Xmithy from the Sejuani.
Not always the most positive accolade to give, but of course, this has been a powerful pick in the hands of Xmithy in his most recent games. Incredibly active in the early game, ganking mid, ganking top, being pretty much everywhere on the map to get Team Liquid ahead. So I think no surprise to see his champ pool prioritized.
Exactly. In the last game, Deficio was talking about junglers going to the side lanes against funnel compositions. Smithy on Sejuani was one to do that very same thing to Echo Fox when Impact was on a melee champion, Pobelter was on a melee champion, and they could stack up these stuns. Now with Zoe being early picked by Splyce, that does set up for another Pobelter Aurelia pick.
Okay.
Maybe they're kind of, boxing them into it, but we shall definitely see about that. Zac is a possibility for ganking mid lane, but usually later on.
Classic Xerxes.
Yeah, Xerxes comfort pick here. He had a ton of impact on this pick when it was relevant in the meta, and Splyce really struggled when it fell out. Now he's going to try to play it again here, but not necessarily the most powerful pick in the current patch.
Oh, Gobi, are you the greatest analyst ever?
If you say it's true, then it's true.
It's true, because he locked in Aurelia.
Thank you so much.
Best prediction ever.
Well, obviously, Aurelia, everyone's been talking about how it's good into Zoe right now. You can land the stuns pretty easily after she uses, the portal, and she has a lot of mobility to dodge bubbles as well.
And we didn't get to talk about this before the game started. We had planned to discuss how both teams like to play fairly standard drafts. You mentioned already double normally on 80 carries bot lane. The same thing for Kobe on the side of Splyce. It is going to be Zoe Aurelia mid lane, so it's just setting up for a more traditional bot lane. And that is something that should really favor Team Liquid, because they are really good at playing the standard style. Splyce on their side are still trying to figure out exactly how they actually want to play, because they are 2-4 in the EU LCS. Luckily for them, had a 2-0 week going into Rift Rivals, seen some improvements. They seem to be aware of what's going wrong. The question is, have they fixed it in time for Rift Rivals?
We're going to find out once we get in the game. Mundo is the final pick here as we enter the second ban phase. Darius and Lucian taken away from the Splyce lineup, and Kai'Sa in the hands of double ups is something I always love to see. This guy's a monster if he can make it far enough into the game. Pobelter getting comfort picks as well, and Splyce on the opposite side, they secure the Zoe for Niski in the mid lane, but the Zac still a big question mark for me as we see the Alistar banned.
So here, I actually don't want to see an 80 carry from Kobe. I want to see him pick Ziggs, Heimerdinger, that kind of stuff.
Really? Then, your Mundo is your main source of attack damage, or you're going to have to pick another attack damage, like a melee?
Come on.
You're going to be all magic.
You can just finish the game in 20 minutes.
Okay, if you say so. Ezreal banned out as well, though, so they're obviously focusing Kabe.
Yeah, he's going to pick an attack damage.
Because like me, they don't want diversified damage to fight against.
See what they want to go for here, though. What's the 80 carry choice? Maybe they grab a support instead for Kasing. Hide the last pick for 80 carry. Interesting. Ooh.
Whoa!
This is not the first time a Splyce player has played Caitlyn in this tournament, gentlemen.
That's true. Was just buffed here in the hotfix patch that came in, which is the one we are playing on. I think he was looking at maybe like Varus as well, but there's still a lot of magic damage then coming in, so he wanted just something pure physical. And that's why he went for the Caitlyn, but this is now an 80 carry who wants to build crit, and that takes time.
It does take time. I mean, the Infinity Edge got a little cheaper as well, in addition to the Caitlyn-specific buffs, so you get to take a little bit of time off the scaling, but it's only like 100 gold.
And of course, it is a comfort pick for Kabe. We have to respect that. They have struggled to adapt to the new meta. Deficio, you already mentioned it once, and this is something that they're used to from a previous split. So maybe comfort will be enough here to get them through the early game to make this pick useful.
Yeah, they could have gone Pyke plus a mage bot lane. Bam, there's your physical damage. We got it.
Pyke is a really good answer, honestly. We haven't seen too much of the players play it on stage in North America, though they have been playing it in solo queue and practicing in scrims.
Saying, what's he going to go, though? 15 seconds left. Decent amount of supports left available outside of the one.
Fiddle, perma-push bot lane. Try to get turret down on the side of Splyce.
Kasing hasn't looked that great on the Fiddlesticks. Dark Wind also quite blockable. See if they want to go for it. Maybe the Janna, just a classical come in. The Zillion!
Baby, man, what year is it?
I mean, it was also this year that he played it. What season is it?
Fine, let me change the meme. What split is it?
I'm very interested to see what happens with impact on the top side too, with the Gangplank, just trying to farm it out for a bit later, because Zac is a champion that can assist Mundo in tower diving, and Smithy's definitely going to have to ward against that.
But now with this bot lane here from Splyce, it is just screaming towards scaling and late game for them. Like, they have the Zoe mid, but that's against Irelia, so that's a tough matchup for Niski. Zac jungle can gank, but ideally still want to farm in the early levels in the jungle. There's not a lot of punch coming in from Splyce to try and get a lead on Team Liquid.
You do have
Slightly concerned.
Yeah, you do have the possibility of comboing your stuns with Zillion into a Caitlyn trap, but it's going to be even difficult to land the initial stun there from Zillion on mobile champions like that.
I want to see them try and control the bottom lane with Kabe and Kasing. It's been a problem for them, the early laning phase. They need a lot of help. Let's see if they can get it in this game.
Now they have the comfort picks in their hands, but will it be enough up against Team Liquid? Double F and Ole, a terror on the bottom side of the map. And similarly, top lane left to vacuum. It has been an issue in the past for Splyce, but luckily this time Odo's not on the old Aatrox. He is on the Mundo, so it's a little bit better.
All right, in the mid lane though, Niski returns to North America where he got his starts, and he talked about really looking forward to playing on this stage again and proving himself in front of a North American crowd.
You just steal him from us. He spent like 3 years in Europe.
We gave that one back.
For it.
We returned that one, by the way.
We'll find out if that was a mistake, Kobe, as we get into game. Team Liquid versus Splyce. Second game of the day, EU up currently. Can Team Liquid bring it back for North America? We're going to find out. I think, gentlemen, it might just be all eyes on the junglers here in the early game. Where's the pressure going to go?
That exciting Sejuani's back.
Farm the jungle. Get some cams, get some levels.
Scuttle Crabs, run for your lives.
No faith in the early ganks. We saw
you can early
be active early. Xerxes given up tons of farm to gank.
If you force a cleanse from Niski, that's a really easy gank right after with double CC setup from Sejuani plus Irelia, and then he goes down very quickly. Bot lane, Kabe and Kasing aiming for the push strategy on their side, and let's see what happens. Level 1, Ole will check with double lift.
Also going to get a bomb on his head.
So Splyce currently with a gold lead in the game. 10 up, very important.
Congratulations, fellas. You've done it.
There we go.
It's all down here.
He gets another.
20 gold lead. Could also risk dying here, though. Kabe going to throw down a bit more poke. Not going to matter too much. Good early vision laid down to at least give a little bit of knowledge as to where the junglers.
Doesn't look to me like Ole is hurt at all, actually. Healed right back up. Those bombs, not very effective.
Neither's 20 gold, but I still talked about it.
Fair enough.
Oh, he's going Guardian as well on the Zillion. Not the Airy we saw before when you rushed Ardent Sensor, and then you can use the speed up and get a little shield on them and actually proc the Ardent Sensor. Not today from Kasing. Guardian for just even more defensive tools when he's next to Kabe. Definitely not looking like the pick that will completely snowball out of control.
Yeah, as you were talking about though, the Caitlyn and the Zillion definitely want to get the push early, so they're not going to pull it off for the Zac. That leads to Xerxes starting on the top side with his red. And as you can see, Kabe and Kasing moving in the minion wave. Try and push it in first.
Always got to abuse the double range advantage on their side. Of course, a little bit later for Team Liquid, they can start setting up plays around the bottom lane with Ole on the Braum. That's one of the great values.
Also take note of the wards in the river right now. These are super commonplace. They're in order to scout out the junglers going for the Scuttle Crab. so that they can see them and set your own jungler up for getting the other one. Smithy will be able to get bottom side as the ward dies.
Both junglers spotted out here. Xerxes, of course, going down to the wolf camp is revealed. He does know the scuttle crab is being taken, but the one on the top side is now left open and available if Xmithy wants to rush for it.
And something that's very typical of the Zac clear when you're going from red side to blue is doing your blue buff and your Gromp at the same time. You kind of leash them close together so you can then use your elastic slingshot and hit them both at the same time. But it is risky because you get a lot lower doing that. And they even pull over Zilean just for a little extra comfort in case there was a possible Smithy gank, because they saw him on the ward, but then it expired. So they weren't sure if Smithy was going to get aggressive there.
Pouring some additional XP into the jungler, like the play there, and Double have taken a lot of poke here in the lane, but still not the most confident push out here from the side of Splyce.
This matchup, though, is so interesting just overall between Team Liquid and Splyce, because you guys consider Team Liquid the best NA team coming into the tournament. Like, they like to play the standard style with the AD carries. They're really good ones to get the advantage of kind of knowing how to close out the game. And Splyce, of course, on the other side, considered the weakest of the European teams entering. Because they've had such a rough start with this new meta, this change has not really fit their bottom lane. It's been hard for Odoamne as well. In the top lane,
Exhaust already there. Used from the W from Niski. Gonna pick that one up and take a little bit of defense for the trade.
A bit obnoxious for Bowbelter. Does get a nice flawless duet there. Cannot follow up, though, in the end due to the Spell Thief. And now Xmithy could make his presence known on the top side of the map. Xerxes here as well, though. Small level difference. They haven't seen the Zac yet. They're going into the play anyway. Odoamne now going to try to pull out extra tenacity. Not going to matter too much. First blood dropping. Zac all on his lone, so I'm just going to leap out to safety. But first blood drops for Liquid.
Smithy making it look easy here. Impact pushed up, but now bottom side too.
Oh, Kabi has to be careful. The net brings him back. Ole pushing forward, threatening for a little bit more. Concussive blows. Not going to land any more, however.
well, it was the gank from Xmithy that got the kill. Of course, Impact did all the work beforehand, getting Odoamne low enough they could force him off the turret. And the moment a Zac and Mondo do not have turret helping them, they can't really deal any damage to
that's the
GP.
thing. He's running away here, so he gets halfway through. They're out of turret range when Smithy commits.
He needs to flash just there.
Yeah, once he gets the Arctic Assault hit right there, it's easy to grab the stun, and Impact flashes for the kill. That is a kill early on. First blood here, 2 Impact on the GP. That's going to greatly accelerate this top lane carry potential, and that also can affect the bottom lane, obviously, once Impact gets access to level 6 and the ultimate.
He's not even going for the Grasp GP either. He's got the Klepto, so it's just going to be more and more money in Impact's pocket. Sitting comfortably in that top lane, not exactly what Splyce wanted to have happen, because the GP is also going to be able to influence the bot lane in a way that Mundo really can't, especially with the TP down, because he's got that ultimate.
Just throw a very long cleaver at least, landing all the way in the bottom lane if he wants to do anything. But yeah, so highlighted with their rune choice. In fact, he realizes this guy's not going to be a threat in lane, so you don't need to go Grasp on his side.
Especially if GP does get an early lead. You can see the zoning already with the barrels. Those can shed through even the early armor Odoamne is getting. And Impact can easily rely on all these potions he's getting from Klepto to keep the wave in a nice spot.
And whenever we have plays like the one we just saw here from Xmithy, there's always a lot of discussion going on between the top laner and the jungler. Like, should Xerxes have been top earlier when the big wave hit the turret to protect Odoamne from the get-go? Was that necessary, or was that called in advance? And Xerxes ends up showing up, and you can then argue, should Odoamne have dropped as low as he did? And that's always the back and forth here, but in the end, it is TL with the advantage, and I think they spotted him on the bottom side.
Yeah, I was wondering too if Zilean would continue to give the experience from his passive to Zac to try and get more levels early into Elastic Slingshot, because that range means a difference from one of these ganks, you know, from Fog of War working or not. Now that he's level 5, should have 3 in there.
What though?
Spotted. As you mentioned, Official, good vision from Liquid means that they're going to know this one is coming. Xmithy going to respond by taking Scuttle Crab, knowing he's uncontested on the top side of the map. Things looking good so far. Is just going to back in the bush. Knows he can't push for much more, but Double will have the freedom to go in once he sees the Zac leave the lane. Isn't going to take the chance. Xerxes sticking around. Nice bait from Team Liquid to step forward.
Wasting the jungler's time there. Very effective. And look at the mini-map. Smithy, during the time that the bottom lane is wasting the time of Xerxes, they're communicating with Smithy, hey, go for the invade. Start getting some of those wards down. And they're also going to pressure up here. Maybe steal away the red.
Generally also just a weird timing from Xerxes. If you went bot lane here and did this play, even if there's a ward, and it's because Kabi and Kasing needs to recall, then it makes sense because he's just there providing backup when they push out and he can recall with them. But they're just shopped. They'd returned. They had no gold on their side. And now he His buffs were spawning on top side. Oramne's left on his own. Just a lot of time wasted.
In addition to that, there's a possibility of turning around with a Gangplank ultimate.
Definitely.
So there were two options for Liquid there. They could have Smithy go counter gank, use Gangplank ultimate, and turn them around. Or go for the higher percentage play there, invade on top side. That's what we saw.
Backs canceled as well.
Soon you must know there's a ward. Like, your jungler was spotted.
How many recalls will
he's
cancel
fine.
today? Not those ones. Doublelift just going to know this is his time to push out. And gentlemen, I want to talk about breakpoints. What are we looking for here in terms of when are these teams going to start fighting? Because we know the Caitlyn wants to scale. We know she wants to get a little bit further ahead before she can do really anything in the fights to come.
I mean, I was going to mention one of the points for me would be when Caitlyn got a BF sword, and then maybe she could start actually being a threat to the turret. But second recall for Kobe, and it's a pickaxe on his side now. So he's not so strong here in the early game. Must wait even longer.
But ultimates are now coming in from the junglers. Have to keep our eyes on them, see where the first big play is. TPs, not yet, but will be up shortly for both Odoamne and Impact. Will they use them for the team or for themselves to keep that laning phase moving forward? Right now, CS just about even across the board. Small lead for the Caitlyn, small lead for the Sejuani.
Okay, can he land an elastic slingshot on Pobelter here? And Niski's moving up to try and bait a little bit, it looks like.
He's just going to use it into the brush, clear out the control ward. And once again, the experience is being given over to Xerxes over and over again here.
I mean, it's a lot of scaling on their side, but I think Team Liquid also with Kai'Sa, with GP, with Sejuani, like, we might get a more traditional spring split game where both teams have great scaling and we just get massive 5-on-5 team fights later, and it comes down to how well the carries can take care of the front lines.
Yeah. They are getting to the stage of the game where Zach has really potent ganks, though. Super long elastic slingshot. They're controlling vision as well around this bottom half of the map to give him more opportunities and places to try and start it out from. So Team Liquid will have to watch out for those. And Ole is very deep.
Xerxes could look for the catch out here. Singh knows he's walking into that little bit of a funnel, but will not throw out any bombs. They're just focusing on pressing down and trying to take this tower. 9 minutes into the game, using their lane pressure well just to force this one out will lead to a small gold advantage if they can take it.
Well, it's so important. Whenever you grab the Caitlyn, especially now when she's not considered a strong pick at all, like if you can't win the laning phase by taking down the enemy turret, your mid game against Rageblade is just so weak. So really important for Splyce, they can actually grab the bottom lane. Xerxes was around again when they start hitting the turret, but he's on top side now. So if there is an opening for TL to make a play bot lane, it's this very moment. They have GP ulti, Sejuani can go bot lane, and they know Splyce will keep pushing, or at least you can force them away from the turret.
And additionally, Odoamne burns his TP to get back to the top side. Gangplank backing now, free to go bottom, free to use that ultimate on the bottom side as well.
Yeah, so now it's really rough. Splyce needs to be aware of the fact that jungler is top lane and should not push forward again.
Look for Ole to engage this one. They are both level 6 here, with Smithy having also access to his ult.
Kissing with the cleanse to make sure that even if he gets hit by CC, he can save himself or Kabe if needed.
Flash.
No vision in the brush.
He's in there now.
There it is, the perfect engage. Cleanse going to come out. Is the ultimate going to be there? Yes, but he's just in the middle of the team. They're going to look for the double, but they'll just settle for Kabe instead. Goodbye to the Caitlyn. Team Liquid grabbing another kill.
Yeah, going to be able to jump on that one. Nice one from Smithy there. Arctic Assault right out of the brush, and no reaction in time. They take him down twice through the Zillion ult.
Yeah, that's just smart. Like, it's such a good gank setup because you knew the enemy jungler was bot side earlier, so he has to go top and take his camps, and that gives you a giant window to make this play. And Smithy, he just punishes instantly.
Ultimate comes out, Vanguard edges there. They're looking for the re-engage. Battlestar goes forward. Stun still connecting. Pobelter slowed down. Niski gonna have to wait a few more seconds before he gets the damage down. Flawless duet. The one target is marked. Pobelter mage look for the turn. Ole is on the way, bringing back Sejuani into the middle of the team. That's gonna be a sleepy girl, but not gonna happen there.
Mundo roaming now too.
Backing off, still looking for the re-engage. Has the passive to reset. Kissing is here. Where was the double bomb going to go? Enough CC to lock down Ole. The support will just drop. No! Buys time with the stopwatch
gets out
to make it to safety. Well played by Ole. Nope, Niski.
Teleport being used bottom there for Doublelift to go back down and answer Kabe, that one guy who didn't really roam towards the mid lane, but wow, no kills going down in that convergence.
That was so close. He got a stopwatch used on the side of Team Liquid, and a bunch of summoners from Ole right here being gone now. Doublelift trying to stop the turret from dying, but Splyce still have Kabe pushing. Meanwhile, mid, Niski.
Good use of the Defiant Dance from Pobelter, timing it perfectly with the sleep there to make sure that the follow-up damage was not enough to kill him. Kabe, though, still uncontested enough to start looking to take down the tower. Might just take one more wave here unless Doublelift wants to threaten the all-in. Kabe Overstaying is welcome. The flash forward, wall slow, double F. That's an oopsie.
Yep, not able to get in range for the last auto there. And that's going to be Kabe getting out, and they'll still get probably first turret bonus as Niski might grab the mid one.
Niski does not care about that Aurelia counter pick against him. Of course, there were a bunch of fights happening as well around the mid lane, so not just a pure 1v1, but that's going to be 2 turrets soon for Splyce. The bot lane did not die. It is currently sitting at 21 HP.
All right, here's another look at the last gank we saw. CC train there, very good as there was no time for Kabe once he was hit to be able to use his flash, and they're able to finish it off.
Splyce kind of knew it was going to happen. They didn't actually push the lane, but you don't have vision in the brush. You don't know when the Sejuani is going to strike, and you die.
Yeah, the double level 6 from Abram and Sejuani, so much crowd control. Right now, though, he's a little bit close too.
Smithy getting spotted out there right at the last second. Kabe will be able to walk away with his life, but the tower may just fall. Another wave is on the way. Brief time to respond, but only 2 members on the bottom side for Splyce and a low health tower. Not ideal for them to stay it out.
And once again, it's Smithy's bottom lane when Xerxes is on the other side of the map, so it's TL with the man advantage.
And they're moving Pole Belter down as well just to make sure they can even up those towers. And he also doesn't want to present a gank target for Zach, while Smithy is showing himself. So you can see Xerxes didn't get much done either during that time. Niski, though, moving up once again.
Sleepy Trouble Bubble not going to connect. Not exactly what they wanted. Team Liquid making good use of the extra members on bottom side. Splyce kind of caught napping there. They weren't able to make a response of their own. That bottom tier 1 tower is still so low, though, so maybe this is the chance for Caitlyn to take it back.
Should still, if they push it out now, actually get the turret. It is 1 hit, basically, on it. They have to respect the GP ult is available once again. Oh, double F did not recall. Cancel it, and Kasing managed to get out.
Double bombs just to zone. Right now, TL with a 2K gold lead. 1,000 of that just going to be in the pockets of the Gangplank, the Klepto, as well as the kill. Making sure that he has a healthy lead over his opponent. Still a decent position for them to be in. Splyce really need that second tower.
Really want to get a BF sword soon as well. It looks like Storm Eraser first for Copy on Caitlyn here, which of course is a great first item to get, but then kind of delays your late game setup a bit, where you're still looking for Infinity Edge and multiple CL items. As a Caitlyn, Impact is around mid lane at the moment. Let's see if we get another fight. The turret is already dead. We have to remember that. Oh, we got hit.
Sleepy's Braum. All is there. Good damage comes through. No damage comes through. For now, Splyce doing what they can to hold on to the mid lane, but felt like they were dictating the pace on the bottom side for so long. See if Kabe can finally get that tower. It's going to be a little bit more difficult.
Get in there.
One more. Oh,
you better run.
Ole. Double Lift has the Rage Blade. So much damage. He's not even going to dodge the all. Well played by Ole to land that one home and kill.
You told him to do it, Deficio. That juicy tower gold.
I kind of feel like he could have waited maybe for his support, but you know what? He wanted that turret.
All right.
Does get it, but now the top side could be in trouble. Smithy's on the way in. Oduwame is unconcerned, but now realizes he may have made a mistake. That's a fast Mundo, however. Need to commit a little bit more CC if they want to bring that one home.
He turned off his W. There we go, back on.
Turned on just in time for the stun there, not wanting to burn any unnecessary health. All right, well, ganking Mundo turns out quite difficult if you don't want to ult immediately.
We've gotten further into the game. Mundo definitely is not too scared of a GP.
And now from Mundo's positioning there, going aggressive after they ganked him, they would assume that Zach is probably there. And Xerxes is kind of in the area, so they don't turn back around on him, even though the ultimate has been burned already.
So it is 2 turrets though for Splyce now. They can start moving Caitlyn around. Storm Razor is completed, as we highlighted before. Good first item. Really annoying to play against due to her range when you just get smacked once in the head with it. And it makes it harder when you're standing and trying to defend the wave and she's sieging on your turret or about to do it. So Copy here is the man we're looking at to just move around and get more objectives.
And this build was directly buffed in the patch because the Caitlyn buffs will focus on the crit. And as you said, if you can get the headshot for your first auto attack there, then it's going to be a large chunk. So Smithy on the Sejuani is going to want to try and stand in front of the Caitlyn and take the first hit very clearly. Meanwhile, everyone's moving mid now. Team Liquid trying to get some vision back for themselves around this dragon and mid lane.
Not looking to give Caitlyn that chance to roam around the map. They're focusing down mid-area. Setting up now for this Mountain Drake. They're saying in the Raptor pit could look to contest this, but they're not in the best position. Team Liquid, though, may not even need to start it. Just going to go to the bottom lane instead for double up to farm.
Yeah, by the books here. 3 control wards down in the river. They clear out the vision. They have impact recall for his purchase. His ultimate is ready. His teleport is ready. This is such a different game from our opener, boys.
Yeah.
These are like two versions of League of Legends here. Double standard, trading objectives. By the books.
We had 2 Earth games in a row, and then we have this one as the standard Summoner's Rift game. TL wants to fight for a Rift Herald here. 5 members of Splyce already around.
Oh, Super Trouble not going to connect. There goes the Gangplank ultimate. Flawless duet immediately taken down. Pobelter may just look for another one. He gets the reset. It's going to be pretty easy. No, the disengage not enough. She cannot be stopped. Aurelia still alive. May just look for one more kill here. Pobelter is a fiend in this fight. My God, Team Liquid are playing so well, but now Splyce are starting to fire back. Xerxes running. Smithy is here and ready. There goes the ulti. No chance to make it out. NA's Hope alive and well as they clean house with the Splyce lineup.
Ooh, that's why we kept cautioning against 5 times now for Pobelter on the Aurelia. Even though he's the only one to die, huge damage dealt early in that fight. They get the Rift Herald steal as well from Smithy, and they're going to be able to take the objectives afterwards. What a wash here on the top side of the map. NA with a pretty big lead.
Now, that is a very big lead right now. Splyce really just hoped to trade for that Drake, but sadly for them, the Drake died pretty quick, and then all of TL could move in, and the Aurelia basically jumped in 1v3 and took down the support, then the AD carry right after. And if you are Copy, if you are Splyce, you're just hoping now for the late game. Man, you want to get 3-4 items on your Kate. No more fights for them, because this is what happens right now against the Bruisers.
North America not going to stay down for long. Let's take a look at the Smite fight, actually, because I want to see how that steal went down as I was looking at mostly Pobelter there. Looks like they just abandoned it, so not much of a Smite fight. Smithy just went back and hit in the eye.
Directing the focus of the viewers to the Rift Herald where nothing happens.
Hey, you don't want to watch what happens up there again.
I love this because it is literally Doubleth and McSmithy showing up the last second to claim some glory while they've been on the Rift Herald for 75% of the fight, and this Gangplank and this Aurelia are just steamrolling through Splyce.
Yeah, Pobelter did work up there, and then he dies. He's like, where's the rest of the team? Okay.
Well, I guess we got Rift Herald.
That's the big one.
I mean, works out well now. 5K gold lead. Almost 20 minutes into the game. Splyce had a little bit of control there as they started breaking down the towers first, but this fight has just opened the game wide up in favor of Team Liquid.
Mid lane will still be open as well, seeing as the turret will die very quickly. Smithy will grab a blue buff as well. Splyce were trying to hold on before the Rift Herald fight, had gotten a small turret lead, had gotten the first item on Copy, so it wasn't all bad. Sadly for them, if you go back 2 minutes, everything fell apart.
Very true. And we look at the Gangplank on the top side of the map now. Him completing his second item, Stormrazor, as well. We check in on the Caitlyn. Kerchi Shard. Not ideal right now for the Splyce lineup, as the second item also comes in for double lift on the Kai'Sa. A little bit extra magic damage. And Oduwamne is going to be very upset soon, I imagine, as these fights start to play out. And he sees that the Kai'Sa is going to start to shred through his health.
Definitely a lot of scaling here for Team Liquid, so I'm trying to come up with options for you boys, because you sound a little sad at the moment, but it's definitely going to be an uphill battle, because Team Liquid, outer turret in mid is already weakened, and they have an easy road here to just converge and push their lead.
Yeah, no real big surprise in this game yet. Team Liquid, as the best North American team entering the tournament, should be able to, of course, take down Splyce. The thing we're mainly judging on the Splyce side is just how well have they actually improved from some of the issues they had in the past. And this game here, the Caitlyn pick so far, got an early advantage in the lane in terms of push, but it died multiple times to the ganks, and now it's really far behind. Like, you have 1.5 item on Caitlyn versus 2 fully complete items on a Kai'Sa, so it's a very one-sided AD carry matchup.
And especially with how the early gank affected the lane there, Impact has been just styling here on the Gangplank. Total damage dealt to all champions in the entire game. He's been shooting Mundo quite a lot, but he also brought a lot of damage to that team fight on the top side.
And you saw the Fatty Barrel take out half of Kasing's health in an instant. The more vulnerable members of this team have to be concerned about the GP, the Aurelia, even the Kai'Sa. So many threats to the squishy members. And we may now just see the fight. Pobelter, Wallace do have to buy a little bit of time. Tenacity means Oduwamne gets out quickly, responds with a cleaver, but nothing else going to be committed.
Trying to defend mid, does not happen. Xerxes was sitting in his favorite spot at the Raptor camp during the spring split in the EULCS. Teams in Europe, for some reason, could not figure out how to deal with the Zac on Splyce's side. It was whenever they tried to siege mid, he would for some reason appear from the same Raptor area every time and surprise them. And they never figured out, how do we deal with it? Team Liquid tried to put a ward on it. There was a ward to disable it, and then they just walked away from the turret and walked into his jungle instead, which is how you deal with it.
Team Liquid adapting quickly, safe to say. And interesting, the options from Splyce in the draft something we would have expected from Spring Split. We've talked about it already, but feels like a little bit of regression. They say we want to put our best form forward. That is not Summer Split Splyce. It's back to Spring Split for these guys. Fortunately, it's just not enough to go toe-to-toe with Team Liquid right now.
We're waiting for them, though.
It's also fairly difficult for them to land a lot of these, champion abilities on Team Liquid's composition. Aurelia, very mobile, also has the Defiant Dance. Impact can just eat an orange and get out of most of it. And Doublelift there on Kai'Sa, now he has enough attack speed, easily can go invisible. So if you've got a champion like Zac and Zoe that have to hit these skill shots, seems like it's going to be very hard to execute, even at a base level, one of the team fights, if they were able to get numbers advantage or something.
I think realistically, you're hoping that TL will completely mess up around a Baron. That's kind of your hope for Splyce if you want to get far enough into the game that Corby can actually be the carry. Because when he played Caitlyn in the past, we've seen pentakills from him in a 50-minute long game back when that was the meta in the start of spring. That's kind of the point they're hoping to reach, but it again kind of highlights how Splyce is a team that's struggling with the new meta and not as creative as some of the other teams, not as flexible in what they do.
They're not even dealing with the new meta here, though. Like, this is straight up old standard that they're fighting against. Still struggling.
Still a struggle, and Team Liquid not going to give them any chance, not going to give them any respite here. Just putting the pressure on, continuing to try to grow that gold lead as best as they can. 8K in their favor, just about. Baron, really the next objective on the table, and with a Kai'Sa there, a Mountain Drake, could just be easy to shred through that one pretty quickly if Splyce do not get in position or lay down any vision.
Yeah, and I'm looking at Xerxes and Niski as the two members to try and stop this Baron from happening early. The Zac, of course, a lot of ways for him to get in the pit and trying to potentially steal it. And Niski with the Zoe, like around the walls, around Baron and jungle, you can land some very long range, bubbles into some great poke, and that stops the enemy team from doing the objective. So those are the two members I'm really looking at for the next few minutes. If one of them die or do not manage to get in range, well then TL should get the Baron.
Yeah, I also, just taking a look at that, oh, never mind, Ola's going in.
On the flank, Odoamne is going to get the knock up there in the end, but the gangplank helps coming into the backside. Impact is there, Barrel not going to connect, can't quite land the triple. And that's going to stop the fight in its tracks. It's a sleepy Ole, a lot of damage taken out of that health bar, but Team Liquid not losing anything quite yet.
That's the perfect defense for Splyce, actually trying to get out of an engage where now you don't have the enemy team in your jungle, you can kill that control wards, and you can delay the game once again with another couple of minutes.
Yeah, that was a good Mundo ultimate immediately there from Odoamne. Caitlyn traps went down to hinder the chase there from Team Liquid, so it's a good kind of escape. But even with that defense, it's just a little bit of a delay and kind of like a 2-for-1 and ultimate cooldown. So not a lot going to swing backwards. I was about to point out some of the itemization because I'm pretty happy with the way that Impact has spent that money. We talked about him getting so much early on in this game. He has executioners for the Zac and the Mundo, very important. As well as this Stormrazor build that came out for Gangplank once the item was introduced. I think it really fits into the champion kit super well since you don't spend a lot of time auto-attacking. If you just go out of combat, don't auto-attack for 1.4 to 5 seconds, depending on the scaling of the game at the moment, then you get it the active back up again, and you can get a lot of use out of it without having to build full crit like you used to.
And now with the GA as well, Executioner's calling, things just look good right now for Impact. And we saw that triple barrel almost hit the Splyce backline. If it had, that surely would have been a one fight for Team Liquid. And Splyce painfully aware of how much damage that Gangplank can do if they line up for him.
See what happens around the mid lane siege here. Looks like TL just wants to move into the jungle once again, trying to set up the control. Feels all crazy that this game is just so standard in everything compared to what we've had already.
Kind of what we're expecting with these two teams, heading in, as Team Liquid's success has mostly been in this format, and Splyce have been struggling to really find success in any format.
Yeah, and also why this might be the toughest kind of style to play against for Splyce, because when you want to play standard yourself, if you just are the weaker team, generally then you don't get a lot of upset wins. However, against a team like Echo Fox, anything can happen, so there's a chance they can just skirmish them and sort of take advantage.
What was the term Whippo used? Was it run it down?
Run it down. That can definitely happen against them. So I think it's just a rough first matchup for Splyce here. And they're still behind, but still in the game, or trying to be in the game.
Doing the best they can. Ole blocking for now as a little bit of poke comes out from Niski. And then really, at this point in the game, it is all eyes on Kave as we get later and later. 2 items completed. Really,
we need to
wait. A few more. You said 50 minutes to Fishio early. Well, we're 23 short. maybe they can find an opportunity to get a bit more gold here. Team Liquid not pulling the trigger on the Baron quite yet.
And it's actually super easy for Team Liquid to execute this split push here. They move from the top side turret, can bully out Splyce, and the only thing they have to worry about is the Zac from this Fog of War. That's why they're showing there no vision of Zac. Basically everywhere else, Team Liquid has the side lanes push. They still have the pressure, and then just watching and waiting for that engage to anticipate it. Sejuani is really good against Zac because Arctic Assault, you can just straight knock him out of it, as long as you save the cooldown.
Here comes the tip of the Fog, or they may just look for the fight. It's going to get interrupted, just as predicted. Kobe goes right back out, and the fight's starting to turn in the favor of Team Liquid. In goes the Aurelion. Braum with the follow-up on the back. Ult-D, Kabe locked up. Ultimate does manage to come through from the Zillion, but he is now running for his life. Are they just going to wait for this one to tick out? Pobelter, a fiend in the backline. Double lift is here too. Everything going in the favor of Team Liquid. Goodbye to Kabe. Team Liquid getting the fight in the end.
They just got everything right there. Kasing was on the other side of the wall, so he couldn't ult onto Odo Amna, then he couldn't ult onto whatever carry died next, and suddenly all of TL just ran at Splyce and killed everyone.
If there's only one thing you're looking for, it becomes pretty easy to counter there, and Team Liquid will strike back.
Kasing running for his life, tail between his legs, the #1 seed from North America. Looking to bring home their first win, taking down the last tower, taking down the Nexus. North America strikes back.
Standard game, standard comps, and as expected, Team Liquid looking like the stronger team between them and Splyce.
Woo, sweating there. Hard work put in. Hi, Kasing.
Use your ult, Kasing.
He did use his ult. Did not work out for him in the end. Well played by Team Liquid. Just really have to highlight Xmithie once again. I think was just everywhere he needed to be. And once that gangplank matchup on the top side was opened up in the favor of Impact, just this game felt kind of like an inevitable win.
Sure, I mean, they used that advantage. And I also just really liked when we saw the push on bottom side, Xmithie reading the situation, being like, okay, now the jungle should be on the other side of the map. This is my time. We have GP ult, we have a Sejuani that can sneak into a brush. Like, they had everything they needed to perfectly set up a bot lane play, and they did, which further kind of put the Caitlyn behind. And that was a story we highlighted coming into it for Splyce. Like, if you draft a Caitlyn, who is a champion who definitely needs a lot of time to get her crit items, then you have to win that laning phase. And 2v2, they got the push, but then the ganks happen, then the GP ults, and then it's hard.
Yeah, the only area where Splyce were actually, accomplishing any kind of proactive moves was around Niski on the Zoe in the mid lane, actually. And that was in large part due to a lot of the threat of Zac. Ganks Electro Slingshot is very scary for an Aurelia, a melee champion in the mid lane to deal with, but they never were able to get much out of it, right? They got one kill the whole game, and that was Niski Zoe.
Absolutely was the case. Well, to hear more about that victory, let's send it over to Avali and the victorious support for North America.
Thanks, guys. Ole, congratulations on evening out the Rift Rivals score between NA and EU. We saw earlier you take down Kasing in the whipped cream contest, but what did you think about, or what were you expecting from him and Splyce today?
I think when I watched his game before this match, I think they didn't really play some non-AD carry like, some friend Vladimir. So I was very confident because I believe Double Lift is best AD carry when he play really AD carry. So yeah, today was really confident.
And tomorrow we have the MSI rematch between Team Liquid and Fnatic. How confident are you going into that game?
I think that at MSI, like, it's not about our team really play bad or not. I think just like I was not really playing with my own confidence. So tomorrow is my own test, So like I want to test myself that I can did I do really well on vacation? Did I overcome some hardship? So I want to try that.
And you sound really confident right now, but what do you think about NA's chances kind of coming into Rift Rivals this week?
I think Fnatic and G2, they are really good at some non-AD carry, so they are using Vipo, not Leclis. Like Leclis is best AD carry in EU, and they just use Vipo for meta. So I believe if our NA can make play better with non-AD carry, I think we can beat them.
Well, Ole, thank you. And for more on the game, let's hear from the desk.
Thank you very much, Avali. Rift Rivals is evened up at 1-1 as the NALCS #1 seed in Team Liquid takes down the 3 seed from Europe in Splyce. That feels good. But
does it feel good though?
We're on the board. I was ready to say, but yeah, we're on the board. Thank God. But to some degree, expected based on kind of the strength of these two teams coming out of their own regions, right? Team Liquid looking fairly dominant within the NALCS and Splyce struggling to some degree.
Right, it goes beyond just the 1 versus 3 seed. Domestically, Splyce, like you're saying, not looking so hot. And Team Liquid feels like the perfect team to kind of do and kind of expose that fact because they often play a little bit of like this brick wall style, very standard, and then they will have immaculate team fighting later.
Yeah, when I think about Splyce, they're very much old dogs that don't like learning new tricks, and that's why when we looked at their comp, we saw last split's comp. I was like, guys, come on, you can at least pretend to have improved a little bit, but it feels like that we're still seeing some of the core weaknesses, which is that they tend to play more towards the late game, and Team Liquid seem to thrive in that kind of an environment.
Yeah, not to mention, it's not like Team Liquid didn't pick good late game champions. I think
Sure.
that Caitlyn was supposed to be that lane bully pick. They applied some turret pressure early, but ultimately died to ganks. It was exactly what Team Liquid would want to play for. So this is the matchup where you would expect Team Liquid to probably win 9 times out of 10.
Right. Yeah, we did see a lot of turret pressure coming out of Splyce, both in the bot lane and the mid lane with that Zoe constantly pushing and threatening the first turret in both lanes. But as was mentioned, when the skirmishes came to fruition, it was Team Liquid that was coming out on top.
Right, and I think Xerxes deserves a little bit of criticism because he came up so empty-handed for so long, and then this finally comes out, and Pobelter is just going to do so much in this team fight compared to Niski, who's stuck over the wall.
Yeah, the Braum also zoning Niski out a little bit, but by the time he can join the fight, it's over. And this doesn't really have much to do with team comps. It's more to do with execution, since they both had fairly standard wins. But Pobelter hulked out in this fight, whereas Niski was trying to get around the Rift Drop.
And the best part about this replay was we were chatting before or during the game, and Mark basically said, yeah, so basically Team Liquid, they usually play a slow early game, and then they get one team fight, and then the game's over. And it was literally, that is how the game played out. Yeah, this team fight happened, and then Splyce couldn't really find a way back into the game. Niski, he got a bit of poke out, but unfortunately never got to a situation where they could siege with this composition. Their front line wasn't really strong enough to be able to deal with the Kaisar that, in most cases, were able to get onto the back line along with Pobelter. And I feel overall that Team Liquid came in with the a comp that they're very familiar with, and they executed upon it better.
Yeah, the Zillion in particular is a champion that's only a champion if you land your ult on one of your carries, and Pobelter kind of forced that early on, so you're just this thing that's like, kill me again, please, instantly, give me some more resets, Aurelia, there you go. So.
A very pretty gold graph there for Team Liquid. You can see that inflection point, that 17:30 where the ace comes through. They get a spike in gold, they close it out cleanly from there. That leaves us with a couple matches left to go here on day 1. As was mentioned, the 1 seeds from each region have played the 3 seeds from each region. We are taking a look, of course, at the remaining schedule for the day. 100 Thieves and G2 Esports up next. The side selection there, as these are both 2 seeds, will be determined by a 2v2 matchup. So that's going to be very exciting to watch, our first one of the tournament so far.
Yeah, this is where both teams get to designate who they want for that 2v2, but also it gets to show who's actually winning Rift Rivals. You can expect Team Liquid to beat Splyce. Had a mild amount of hope for Echo Fox over Fnatic, but Fnatic crushed them later in the game.
Yep.
And there's a lot of skepticism with the 100 Thieves lineup. The Meteos on to trade happened before this. They're running with Brandini, not someday, because Levi counts as an import slot in the jungle. This will be really the first stage time he sees in NA that's not on the Academy roster. And they're going up against a team that is undefeated over in Europe so far.
Right, we don't even have an undefeated team in NA.
Yeah, they've even perfected the funnel strat, which is something that, at least from the Western side, seems to be the only team that can really perfect right now. A lot of European fans kind of want it to be exposed. That's what we were hoping coming over to North America. We were like, hey, maybe they've got some strats that can usurp it. Maybe 100 Thieves is them.
No, I hope G2 doesn't play funnel. This is your chance to explore and learn more strategies. Try to get
hey guys, let Heimerdinger open. See how that goes.
Maybe the
Try
coaches
some new
are
stuff
watching.
out, and maybe 100 Thieves can sneak away.
I mean, hey, look, 100 Thieves was the team that was picking up the funnel strat in most recent weeks. But as you mentioned, Jet, that's with Meteos in the bot lane next to Ryu and someday beasting it in the top lane. Brandini going to be taking up that slot. So really, you know, there's so much left to be seen from this squad. We even, as the regional experts, have yet to see what these guys are capable of.
Exactly. All across Rift Rivals in a lot of the world right now, in this tournament in particular, it's more defined. You have Fnatic with the mages, you have TL and Splyce, which are the old dogs. One is better than the other. It's like a really fit old dog. And then you have G2, who seem to be those masters of funnel. And I would be interested to see a jungler like Levi unlocked a little bit to gank wherever he wants. Seems like
Right, if they're doing funnel and their side lanes are exposed, that seems right for
Levi
maybe Levi to do some work. Anyway, the regions are tied at 1-1. We'll see who can take an advantage in 100 Thieves versus G2 after the break.
Lift Drive Trophy, so much better than Ashes.
What is it? Like a tree? Don't try understand it.
Just play our game, because everyone expects us to lose.
I expect us to lose.
Small level difference. They haven't seen the Zac yet. They're going into the play anyway. Odoamne now going to try to pull out extra tenacity. Not going to matter too much. First blood dropping. No, the disengage not enough. She cannot be stopped. Aurelia still alive. May just look for one more kill here. Bowmelter is a fiend in this fight.
Yeah, I'm looking Mundo. Mundo, ulti in the back.
Okay.
I'm looking here. Okay, give us an ulti. Give us ulti. Don't go too far. I think they're Dior.
Taking down the Nexus. North America strikes back.